welcome to today's event. We're going to be talking about application extender and human resources, how to drive productivity through workflow automation. Um, if you're on a call today, that means your company has application extender, and there's a chance that your HR department is not using it, which this is the base level would be really helpful. Or they don't have workflow, e-forms, capture solutions all built around it to drive even more efficiency. So that's today what we're going to talk about. Um, if you come over to our CASO site, we have a couple of good pages which I want to show you for a second. And then I'm going to give you a quick PowerPoint slide, and then we're going to get right actually back into the demonstration. So over in our HR's page, it goes through the benefits and different ways of processing through with human resources. We have some case studies. We also have a really good page around application extender, which covers a lot of the solutions that we have to offer. So if you want to look for workflow or e-forms, full text search, these all drive you to another page to tell you even more things that can be done by your team with application extender. We have some videos inside there. We talk about some really good case studies where we are doing some great work inside of application extender. And this is also a good section for resources where people are just asking generally about annotations or user security rights. This drives you down to some real good information inside there. Okay, so let's go to a quick PowerPoint slide and then we'll do a demo. So today's session is around human resources, and my name is Richard Tamaro. I am the one of the owners of CASO Document Management. We are located in New York City, Pittsburgh, and San Antonio, where we're brick and mortar, but we are supporting application extended customers throughout the country, all the different states, all the different counties, different type of corporations. I wanted to give you a diagram of what a business process management solution could look like for an HR department. So your records could come in via many different methods. People could be scanning or importing, drag and dropping over to a folder, and that folder then could be extracted automatically and sent over to be worked on. And I'll talk about how that can be done in a second. E-documents, e-forms, web forms, other ways of getting records inside of application extender, out including like DocuSign and some other ways of bringing records inside the system. Hard copies come in and they get scanned, and then there'd be an email process. The What can happen is there's different levels of scanning and data extraction software that could sit in front of AX. So here's where records will ultimately live. But I'm going to show one solution where we can auto extract data right off of your forms so that you can eliminate the manual data entry. We have different softwares for that. This one we think fits very well with human resources because one, you can manage it yourself through a department. You don't need to go to your technology team, and I'll show you how to do that. And two, a lot of times your records are very standard format for HR, so the software does a great job. So these documents will come in via PDF or Word, and the software is going to read that and extract it. Maybe pull the employee ID, the name, the department, and attach that to the PDF. You could automatically send this information right over to your HR business solution if you want to. But many times, what's going to happen is this information is going to go to sit inside of application extender, right? But let's say it was automated and the records went right inside there, or even if your team did some data entry, you're going to probably want a workflow process where that document then is going to be sent over to your HR department or other departments for review and processing. And the records might bounce around from one person to another, or from one department to another, until the final review is done. Once that is done, we can update your business application, your HR system, saying, hey, Richard Tamaro has joined the team. Here's all of his information. Let's get this inside of our document management system. This database can also be leveraged to the other side so that when you are extracting information, you could type in, for example, the employee ID number and it might pull back Richard Tamaro. You can have let's say I get married and change my name to Richard Tamaro Bailey and I move to a different department. Well, you want the records to reflect that correctly so we can get nightly feeds and update the system across the board. Or maybe I did leave the company and you want to mark me down as retired, then that system can automatically be updated there also. So that's just an overview of what the system looks like. I'm going to cover the different stages. I will jump back to this document a few times to give you a feel for where I am in the system. I will be starting with the data capture right out of the gate. Um, and just for the HR side, record security, all documents need protection. But human resources, there is a lot of security built around that. So application extender will allow security for emailing, like the functionality. Can I email it out? Can I put annotations or add documents, right? Can I modify the indexes once a record's inside of AX? All of that can be turned on or off via user security rights. And I'll show you also even how you can run reports to see who has access to which cabinet and what permissions do they have. Uh, we've shown some customers who we've inherited through application sender, like, you have like 47 people that can go delete records out of out of the system. And they almost fell over, like, wow, I didn't know that. So we can help you to manage that. And then once it's set up, it's really nice. You can also control how they can access it, what department they can see, or contract type, or document type, like employee status. Maybe you have VIPs that you're working in your organization and you only want certain people to see that. Or maybe the I-9s can only be viewed by other individuals. Maybe Janice can see I-9s, but Richard cannot. These can all be set up by user groups, controlled through something like Active Directory or Okta, and managed for your team. Other integration points are records coming in. So this is an example, for example, like we work with customers with DocuSign. The envelopes are completed. They're sent round for routing and approval. They get completed via DocuSign. We have this listener that will listen for when the envelope is done. We'll bring in the document, we'll bring in supporting documents, and we'll push that right inside of application extender. We know the metadata values, and we can push it over inside of application extender. Many times, then the customers are looking for workflows to occur so people can review. One of our larger AX customers uses DocuSign, for example. They have about 75,000 envelopes that come through the system. And between the DocuSign and scan records, we do about 650 to 700,000 workflow transactions a year for them through application extender. So it can really scale up if you have that type of need. Okay, what I want to do is I'm going to show you this part right now because sometimes you're saying, well, how do I get records inside the system? And there's several different ways, but one of the cool things is when we're doing like auto extraction, bringing data, pulling data right off of a form. So I want to show you how that looks and how that can be set up and managed on your side. So I'm going to switch screens here and actually going to close this screen here. And I'm opening up now. We're going to go to the system's called Forms Magic. And I'll show you how it does work. So what happened is the records came in, they were scanned, they were dragged and dropped, they were brought various different methods over into the scanning and capture software, right? And they came in through batches, right? So we're looking at this sample batch that came in, and I'm going to open this up to take a look at the actual records inside of it. So what I have is this is my first data entry scenario. I haven't done any data capture yet. This is, like I said, usually with HR, they're pretty standard forms. So all of these fields are always going to be in the same location. We have other solutions where the forms are dynamic, like invoice processing, and the words are all over the place. But here we know where to go and grab the information. And you'll see right over here that first name Chad was being captured, that Conley is being captured. Now you see like I have Conley right here, and Conley's been captured over there. The social security number highlighted. For some reason, I looked at this and said, I'm looking at the date and I have 83% confidence. So I'm going to mark this as orange. And it was a little bit tight over here, so I was making that determination. It recognized by the bankers and certain information that there's an enrollment change in form, and the date of birth, it recognizes also. So I didn't do any work at all. The We brought this into the system. The software went through and read and said, yeah, I know this form and I know where to grab all the data. I'm going to populate that for you. And if I have some problems with one of the fields, I'm going to say that this is a concern, right? So if I go through the different forms, you'll see like this employment application, this is the health benefits. The system is reading and recognizing a form and then telling the user where to go. And you'll see right now down here, there's three forms I'm working on. This one is more of a lighter one. There's certain fields like social security number it's not going to capture, but it's put inside there. Um, with human resources, a lot of times just on this software alone, you can get an ROI on your investment to get a system up and running of less than 12 months. Very powerful, automatically extracting the information. And you say, well, this is great, Richard. I need to, maintain my own system. Well, that is kind of our theme, how we try to work for our customers so they can do a lot of work themselves. And let's take a look at how you could create your own form recognition. I'll take this off. Switch this out. Okay. And we'll log into the admin side and just show you real quickly how that can be managed. Go open up the different projects because you can have different types of work being done inside here. By the way, we do use this internally for our own business office, and we use this for managing and doing data extraction for some of our customers. So some of our customers will send their forms in electronically, or we hard copy, we scan them, and then we use this software for auto extraction. So let's open up a particular form. We were looking at this form before, and let's set this up. So right now you see like first name, last name, that's the fields that I'm capturing. But let's say I want to go capture another field. Let's say I want to start getting zip code, right? So what I'll do is I'll say I want to add a form. I just add a field, excuse me. And I'm going to call it zip code. Say great. I'm going to grab that. And it's going to tell me, say, where is the zone for zip code? Zip, the zone is over here. And now I've captured my zone. And I also now want to add an anchor. Okay. So anchor is really telling it where to go find it on the page and to give it a chance to read the section to make sure it is grabbing the right area. Zip codes already exist. Let's get rid of zip code to show my demo. Zip code does not already exist now. So let's add that in here. Zip code. And I'm going to go grab an anchor. I'm going to grab two things so we can get really tight. State and zip code there. And now go back to my zip code up here and say add my anchor. Zip code, zippo code, I called it. Great. So going forward, this system is going to read not only first name, last name, but now it's also going to read zip code and it's automatically going to extract the information. The form is going to be captured, it's going to be pushed inside of application extender, and the workflow is going to kick off. Let's go take a look and see what that looks like now on the other side of AX and workflow and how that processes through the system. So what I'm going to look at, I'm going to go look at the workflow side. Most of you have already seen, I'm looking at it, who's attending, have application center and are familiar with it. So I'm going to go through the workflow and I'll talk about the routing. And then I'm going to go talk about AX. I'm going to talk about e-forms and record retention, a few other items that will help you to manage your HR department more efficiently. So I'm looking at onboarding for workflow. Okay. And as a super user, I come in, I get to see all of the users, all of the queues. Remember, I talked about like HR and benefits. Well, you might set up a workflow that goes from an associate to a manager, maybe jumps over to CFO, maybe over to claims processing. And so the records can be moved around from different individuals. I'll show you how that does work and what we can do for there. Right now, I'm looking at a group box, and that's showing me all of the tasks that are out there, right? I get to see this an associate has it, a processing team has it, right? I get to tell that Richard owns it or Taylor owns it. It's a full dashboard of all the work that's in flight. I can have icons that give me a little cues about the actual status of the workflow, or I have the different colored rows that might also help me. So this is a full listing of everything that, as a manager, that I can see. I can pull it down to Excel if I wanted to, and send it off and track some other metrics for, say, my senior management team above me. Let's say I'm just an associate, not just. Let's say I'm an associate, and that's the only queue I can see. I wouldn't see the rest of the tasks below it. I just see what's an associate and say, this is actually the queue that I want to work with, and I open it up. Because it's an onboarding, I'm working with multiple documents at once, at least at the associate level. So I'm seeing everything related to Bill Cross and as an employee ID, right? If I want to look at his one particular record, I can click on that and I'm going to open up that item inside of Application Extender. So I'm still natively inside here. Workflow rules and permissions are still, AX rules and permissions are still being enforced upon me. And over here, I have the different indexes. Some of them I'll be allowed to change and modify, and some of them I won't be, or some of them will be required. If I want to, I can go add some comments. These comments will then be tracked in the audit trail and be related to that document for the future. I can see the history, very granular level. We can even put things such as like an HR checklist. Let's say you want to ensure that certain tasks are being done outside of workflow. I need to make a phone call and I want to confirm that the associate actually made the phone call. I need to go check other aspects of this new hire or complete certain other tasks. Well, I create a little checklist and make sure that all those tasks are done before I can accept it and move to the next level. When it goes to the next level, we're over here with the manager and we'll open this one up. I'm inside here looking at the document. The first thing you'll see right away is I have a different user experience, right? The manager, we set up to only see one document, not to see multiple documents, right? I can flip through and take a look at the different type of records that are inside here. And over here, my fields are different, and I don't have a checklist. So I am managing this workflow based on different user roles and rights, right? Along with like hitting accept to the next level, I could also hit forward and decide that I want to send it to the CFO level and send it over to Dale at CFO. So I can have the business rules driving the workflow task, or I can also let the end users pick very specifically who they want to see and who they want to send this to. Now, this is all configurable, so you might not let anybody at this role have the ability to send it to another person. Or you might decide that the people inside the manager role should have that permission. I have two more cues here I want to show you, and what's going to be different is, right, you'll see this is application extender, right? Natively, you have the annotations, the rubber stamps, everything that you could do with inside of AX. Well, you don't have to have application extender in the middle of workflow. You could have, let's do IT review first. I'm going to show you, this is a Google document inside of workflow, right? So if I change this to 1, right away my math starts calculating differently. And if I change that off again, so I'm living in a dynamic web page right now. So as part of the secrets of workflow is that you don't have to have like application sender inside there. You can have an e-form or web-based form. You also don't need a form to kick off a workflow. You can have some other outside activity kick off a workflow, the business process management. And workflow will help you and manage that process for you. If I was looking at a form, and I'm going to show you some forms later on, but when a form arrives inside of AX, it can come inside there as a PDF Latin, or it can come inside there as a dynamic form. Once it does arrive inside there, then you have the ability to modify or edit that. Now, right, so once you're inside of AX, you cannot make any changes to an e-form. But with workflow, you'll see, right, there's no AX. We're working with an e-form directly inside of here. You can have a chance to work with a dynamic web-based form. And so your team could make more changes to the record. And every time they make changes, it'll get flattened and pushed back inside of application extender so that all people that have access to AX will be able to go in and see and work with the actual document. Right. So I'm working now, I'm signing a flattened PDF. I can't make any changes. I have my AX full toolbar here. So that's my workflow experience with documents that have arrived. Whether they came in through a drag and drop through an email or through the advanced capture, once it's inside of AX, you can route it around for review and approval inside of workflow. I want to just spend like a few minutes showing you administratively how that can be managed. Um, this could be a whole session by itself, so I don't want to spend too much time in here, but I want to at least show you that it's very much point and click configurable, and that if your team and or technology, business, or subject matter expert wanted to manage it, they could. I was in onboarding before, so let's go look at onboarding right now. So a document arrives, you choose a status, right? It could be a flag document, or like I said, it doesn't have to be coming directly inside of AX. It could be an outside source that stimulates a workflow. And it's like, okay, document type equals application, send it to level 10 associate review. If its last name is Tamaro, send an email to Richard Tamaro and also send it to the supervisor. So now you can see that these don't have to be, these could be true at the same time. So now you're into parallel workflow processing, which is pretty cool. Once it gets to an associate, um, you have the ability to click on and off different fields to see what's available. You remember early in the workflow, I showed like different end user experience. Well, a lot of that is point and click configurable, right? And now from there, you can have buttons like accept. That accept button, it would go to a queue called AT&T, or maybe you have an IT button and it's going to do a condition. If the job code equals 4/8, then send it off to two levels, 50 and 60, send out an email. If it doesn't, let's send it to level 30, and let's send a different email notification out there. A lot of this is back to point and click here. So if I want to add another button in here, and I want to send stuff to Mr. Slayton, who I see joined us. So Mr. Slayton's going to get it. It's going to be visible in the queue, and always send to Al. There you go. Slayton was here before. And now I give him a red button, and I save that, right? Now I've added in, oh, geez, I gave you one earlier the other day. And then now if I want to go to conditions, I can use a field comparison, right? If it's a certain last name, or I can go like with an advanced condition, maybe some JavaScript. And I'll talk more about these drop downs in a second. Right now, we're not going to go with a condition. And then I say, okay, what would I like to do? I say, I want to first send forward this task to IT review. I want to give them a couple of icons, then so when it arrives, they know a little more about that. And let's send an email out. Now, you'll see it, I'm point and clicking for these different actions. A bunch of these come out of the box, but your programming team, our programming team, they can also create these actions and just drop them as a DLL into a library, and then they become part of the power for a business administrator to go through. And all they have to do is go grab that action and say, I'm going to, and then start using it, right? Say, please review for prospect. Thank you, right? And then save that. And now I created a button called Mr. Slayton. So he's going to send it to Al, and I'm going to send an email and go to level 50 for review. That's the it's really powerful. You can set up workflows really quickly. You can also um, get really deep into real great customization and add a whole lot of cool rules and feature functionality inside there. Also, we'll work with you to help get that figured out. So let's take a second here. What we looked at now is bringing in capturing, advanced capture. As you guys, like I said, seen already, you can drag and drop, and there's other ways to go directly inside of application extender. We took a look at the workflow. I want to look at a few things now that can be done with application extender, and then I want to talk about eForms also. We're a big user of the eForms. It's really cool stuff. Let's get into some of that right now. Okay. So on the HR side, right, you come in, you do your search, you find your individuals, are they active or inactive? And let's just do a run. I think I'll just call out a few things. One of the things is pretty, especially with HR, is that you might have many different types of records that you want to bring inside the system. And even on HR, you might have like videos, for example. Maybe there's certain investigations that need to occur. And so let's go. We took a video of one of our employees and he caught him sleeping at his desk. And so now that is part of the record that we have stored inside of application extender. If you want to put a Word document, because along with scanning, you can also bring in other types of records. This is a very basic Word document, but just to kind of give you a feel, right? So here it is inside there. It's also different versions. So if you start making changes and you want to add other versions of the document inside there, you have the ability to use that. And if we go with a well, one of the other things you'll find is once you start using workflow, that you're going to start expanding the usage of all the other areas, right? The toolbar for the annotations or for the signatures, automating either signature being put on there or redacting it before you email it out, and determining if you're going to hide the annotations or show the annotations, send a page range out. The application extender becomes even more powerful because if really all you're doing is scanning your documents at the end after your records are complete, like now just you're using it for storage and retrieval, and you have an audit trail, which is great, right? Um, but once you get to set it up and actually start using them as working documents, now you can use all the tools and applications, and it becomes even more valuable to you. Talk about the document history, for example. So here you'll see individuals that have opened it, um, whether they put annotations or they view the document. You get a very granular view of who did what with the document and when did they do something with the document. Right? You can track that from the workflow through just general viewing of the access. People that do use the system, they find that their audit scores go way up because the auditors just love when you can just show a full trail and history of everything that has occurred. Let's get to a few other things I'd like to just kind of talk about. That's very helpful. If Some of the things is you have a great database inside here with application extender, and so you can run reports. We use Telec reports or different reports inside there. Okay. So I ran reports, show me all on what it's a missing documents report. It starts off showing me actually by customer all the documents that are in there and whether those documents are inside of AX or not. let's say, I'm more interested in I-9s, and really what I want to know is like, show me everything that's missing. Because usually it's more important that you need to find like your deficiencies more than your winners, right? So now I have a listing and I can go follow up with the employees, or I can go search for hard copy records. I can start completing my audit search before the auditors even get here. So the database that's inside of Application Center, inside of Workflow, can be used to leverage to help you even further manage your department and manage your records. When working with your individuals, team members, we also have the ability to provide you a really good granular report based on your what permissions your end users have and what user security rights are out there. If you're once you get past 25, 50 users and you get a bunch of user groups, you really want to be able to see um, either by application or across all the applications what permissions people do have, right? So if I was looking at HR, for example, and I wanted to either do a full review of all the permissions turned on or off, I can set that up. And I did run that earlier. So let's take an HR report. I'll bring that up. So this is my HR cabinet. Here's the different user groups that are set up inside of the system. This is actually connected with my Active Directory system. And so it tells me my different user groups and what permissions individuals have or those user groups have. And then it tells me, like even down to the document level security. This group can see the record status, review, and active. So maybe it's terminated or VIP records they would not be able to see. And then I start getting down to, okay, show me by user. Like Anshu here has a lot of combined access because he belongs to multiple different rows and rules inside of here. And he can do a lot of work with the actual documents inside the HR cabinet. So at the end of the year, if you needed to run a report against your users to see, let's say, reporting groups here, we'll click on that. And that will then bring back the different levels of, say, for this one, we sent up for accounts payable, and these individuals belong inside that group. So I can run a report just against certain individuals and send that to the managers for year-end certification. We find that really helpful and powerful for different people outside there. What I do want, one more thing I'd like to show you is eForms. And I want to show you one of the eForms that we use internally here at CASO. It's to create projects, but I like it because one, it is one of our own forms that we're using, and it's pretty neat and pretty cool how it does work. So what we set up is set up by permissions. People can see certain records inside of links, and I went out to go grab this project creation report. It automatically identified Richard Tamaro and the submission date on when this was going to be created. And if I say I'm doing a project for a client, or if I say if I do it through evaluate a reseller, those are people that do resell our software, and I say it's going to be client, and let's say it's a child's place. I go across, I start grabbing in my data. Is it billed to a different entity? No, it's not. So I grab my billing and my shipping. I can choose my account managers, my project managers, give it a project name. Green project. If I need to add other information about that, I can. I'll say it's going to be end of project or upfront, the project completion date, right? I can finish in the rest. And now if I say it's a scanning service project, well, it says, great, we'll need some additional information. We want to know the preparation rate and the batching rate that's going to occur just for our own internal metrics and how to work on this project. And I'll say the customer has 50,000 pages at 10 cents a page. That's 500. If I wanted to go add professional services now, I could say that it's going to be 50 hours at 250 an hour, and right in the we're set up. Now from here, I can add some files. So I wanted to go out there and map in another record. If I had an NDA that needed to be included inside there, I could put that as an attachment. And so that will be another document that gets sent up and be part of this record. Once I'm done, I hit complete, and this record is now sent off to application extender. It automatically gets indexed, and now it's part of the record. You saw earlier also how you can modify the e-form itself once it's inside of AX. Okay. Those are the areas that I did want to cover with our demo today. How to bring records in, how to automate the extraction, store your records securely by user rights, and then send it around for review and approval and integrate with other database systems. Um, we're finding we're using this tool directly inside ourselves also. So we're using for business office, for HR, and e-forms, auto extraction, the routing, review, and approval has all been driving tremendous efficiencies in our organization and improving our service levels. Um, for your HR department, we'd love to talk to you more about that. If you find that you are interested and you want to learn more about how to leverage what you have with Application Extender, how to get workflow and e-forms and auto extraction in place, then please do reach out to us. I want to thank you for your time. It was great to have a chance to show you what we can do for you. We do appreciate your time. Application Center is great. Let us work with you to make it even better for your HR department. So thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.
Interested in what CASO can do for you? Subscribe to our channel now and check out these videos.